Good morning. We have an Arakni Marionette game. Just a fun game. We want these sinks in. I think that's basically everything. That's a fairly crap start, unfortunately. They've brought AB1. So if we had real spells, it would do something, but not really a thing. We're going to sling this because I want it in the graveyard. Play this for 1 life. Because I want that in the graveyard. And I want to last like that. So, pretty rubbish turn 1, unfortunately. Rolls are going first. Sometimes it's a bit of a whiff. But if you get a good start, it can be amazing. Like if I'd drawn this channel on the first turn, I could maybe have made some momentum. I don't think anything because this hand's perfectly playable. The fruit's in for 7. 7 is 7. I can very much disrupt my next turn if I'm not careful because of that. Arakni. But this has me on full decompose plus a little bit of spare, which is nice. Anything with stealth, and that doesn't have stealth, so we want to be careful here. Just give them that. Not much point trying to play around Save a Bloodshed, like they will land it. More damage and draw a card, pretty good. Assassins get all the nice toys. The problem here really is that this is just being a perpetual threat. I think we just let that hit us. It's a very difficult turn to play through to some degree because, like, it's going to be high damage because they're basically getting 4-3 damage. We've just got to try and not have to bits, and this is where they'll do it, basically. But they don't have any shreddy stuff. If they do, they do, but you know. through that nicely. We've got a good hit from that. Obviously only a blue, not a red, which is a shame, but it's still 6. Just trying to run them down on tempo, really. It's interesting. Just let that hit. There's no point trying to land it. I'm going to commit that in. I would like them to stay normal. I think it's always a difficult choice because, like, them changing into other Arakni can be a real issue. We've got block here if we want it. We will block. This gives us a nice finish. They lose cards to this, basically. I'm almost certain they'll double block it. Yeah. It's kind of fine. C and C is really like a tempo card a lot of the time in this. It it can get really good value into ninjas and things, but into most decks they're blocking it, but that's absolutely fine. This is a bit shit. So we're getting one big kiss of death. And we're going to have to block. I think. I had the double. When that hits, it hits really hard. But like you just can't play around it a lot of the time because, like, especially when I'm going to be trying to do a sync below as well, like they would get their value no matter what. Yay, ripped blue. Lovely. So got a ton of value out of that. Let's rip some back. I mean, I'm somewhat in trouble because I'm not in any way ahead on tempo. He has some quite scary high roll turns. Like if they disrupt one of my turns, I lose at this point. They, as I say, running into like them getting like 7 value out of a card is a big issue. Do I want them to? It doesn't matter. I can't really stop them landing these on this turn because I haven't got prevent ones. So it's really just about being careful with stuff. No, this is a bad choice actually, I think. I'll just keep the felling, I guess. This was, I thought I had slightly more in there until I looked. I should have checked first. This is a good example though of it all just creeping away essentially. I mean, I could just throw the felling for a load of damage. It's tempting, to be honest. Because it's still 8 damage even if I can't decompose it. I really wish I could decompose it, but yeah, I think we throw it. Basically, I messed up on that root bound. I should have committed like root bound on the stone wall or something, and then I could have kept a graveyard, taken a card off, and that would have been way better play. I mentioned in a video the other day, like I am prone to making more mistakes on Talishar than anywhere else, and it's frequently stuff like this. You know, just that like, you know, this UI says there's 4 cards in graveyard. I can see Earth cards on top, and I kind of just make bad assumptions. Whereas in real life, I would look at the graveyard. You know, I would not go, well, I assume there's stuff in there. I would, you know, I would look. I would potentially have turned some of the graveyard sideways, you know, like to kind of denote that there's stuff in there. Does it? It matters if it hasn't got go again, but like I don't need to surgeon or anything. Um, I did not mean to do, but I constantly misplay this on the flicking buff when like it's a mandatory effect. Stop this turn. It feels like a turn we want to stop it. I know I could shelter it, but I feel like I'm going to want that for blocking. Go for a block of 6. There's a potential to not do anything, because then it's harder for them to play attack reactions. But like, you just don't know what they're going to go with. Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting. But they'll almost certainly take the scour off me. Sensible people would take the scour off me. Because it's blue, basically. Like, they can hit the fruits if they want, but it just doesn't do much. That's depressing. That's a really good turn from them, and that's going to cost me a lot there. Like, they've really tempered out in that turn. Like, that was like a 20 damage turn, was it? I think. Through 20, banished a card and banished a second card. Like, this is how Arakni often just wins, because like, it's so hard to come back from that level of disruption. We're going to try, but I think we're going to struggle. Realistically, letting things through the Dark effects is fine here. I'm going to gain most of it back. Right, it's basically what this other card is. I think I let this through just because I don't want to get caught out by whatever this could be. Yeah, so we'll block that. Both can lick me with a knife and it will still get +1 and hit. It's a pain. Give them the mind warp. I think I do that. It's obviously overblocking, but I just don't want to take the extra sort of 2 or 3 damage because I'm quite low. Stuff to do. Get some Verdance tempo going. To bin a card here to stop me getting the Ring of Roses. But they haven't. But that's good because now we get, some swing. Back into that. Okay, so I now have the tempo. It's actually a pretty good hand. Perfect. That's basically what we want out of life here. I've now got a much better threat with my boots because they did that. Swung the life totals around pretty nicely. Also, this mind warp works on them, which is potentially very exciting. We just have to accept the clave. The ideal will be to mind warp them, so I've got like multiple blocks. I think we just probably take this there. It's going to do me 6 total. I have a card left, so I think it's going to. Maybe I should have blocked it. Just feel like you don't really want to run into it because it's a dagger, basically. That would really hurt me at this point of the game. Yeah, that's what we didn't want to run it into. I don't think this was a good choice of theirs. Because I get this. I don't get to gain any life, which is a shame. Do get to swing with that, and that's going to put them very much on the back foot again, even at -1. It's going to be a tight one, though. They've had a couple of really good turns. That 20 damage turn that I think I counted up was huge. Like, was it 20 and took 2 of my cards? Like, a massive, massive turn. I think they're going to double block it, is my guess. I might be wrong. Maybe 1 block, stay on about 4 life, but 4's lethal is the problem. Have 2 ways of killing with instant speed, I think. Which is awkward. unfortunately is a problem. Yeah. Just assassins doing assassin things, unfortunately. The fact that they get a card back from that ponder is kind of disgusting on the codexes, to be honest. Like, such an overtuned card. Yeah, I've got felling and I get to say that still. So I've got 2 at instant, that's not going to do anything. They should win off this 5-card hand. The biggest problem as well is they have attack reactions, and I can't really play around them. And I have to like double block this kind of stuff because there are no other choices. Flick knives, I thought was coming. Apparently not. I'm dead here. He could just flick knives for the win. Good game. Oh, you could just it. This is what I mean, by the way. Like the amount of overrate cards in Assassin, I don't know how they're not always the top deck at this point. You know, not for 5. I'll pass so that they can have the win while I talk. Quick thing, was that a 20 damage turn? 19. 19 damage turn, pretty huge. 19 damage and discard 2 cards is obscene value. You know, that's that I think that equated to what, like 26 or something, probably more in a turn. It's such a big high roll. But as I say, I don't know how they're not constantly best deck in format because everything's good. You know, a 0 for 4 that banishes a card is huge. A 0 for 4 that draws a card makes your opponent discard a card while also threatening 4 damage is huge. You know, this thing being able to get 6 value is, it's conditional, but it's big. And it doesn't fail to be big. Like, at its worst, it's 3 damage and your hit reactions. At best, it's 6 and the hit reactions. Bonds is incredible. Like 90% of these cards are just majestic rarity cards that do like 4+ damage and often replace themselves. This is 4 and +1 card. This is 4 and -1 card. The Tarantula Toxins is like a set. It could be 6 and a card. It's incredible how efficient they are, and I am perpetually shocked that they're not just BDIF at all times at this point. Like, it's incredible that things can even stand up to them. It's incredible to me that this was even close. I don't think it should have been that close. I think they should have kept their hat, and I would have had no chance of killing them. But it was just when they maybe 2 turns ago, they basically banished some cards that I wanted, and that was it, right? It is the Arakni problem to some degree, as Verdance, that you've got decent chances of beating them. I'm still not quite sure why, but it seems to pan out better than it looks. But they almost always land one of those amazing turns at some point, and you just go, oh god, I skipped a turn. you know, their targeted banishing is very, very strong. But, you know, it was close. It was a decent game. Certainly not as miserable as some matchups can be. So yeah, see you in the next one.